things were good, they were really good.
If you read and believe the media, he's become one of your best friends. He's working for free for you.
Well, I love the president. I just want to be clear about that. I think President Trump is a good man. The president's been so unfairly attacked in the media. It's really outrageous. And I've at this point spent a lot of time with the president, and not once have I seen him do something that was mean or cruel or wrong.
Well, it was their mutual desire to help America, to save America from the decline and ruin of Kamala Harris and the Democrats that initially drove their friendship from day one.
We're honored to be joined tonight by one of the people who is going to help us build this incredible future, and he is a truly incredible guy. His name is Elon Musk.
President Trump must win to preserve the Constitution. He must win to preserve democracy in America.
We have a new star. A star is born, Elon. I love Tesla. Elon is doing a great job. He's finding tremendous fraud and corruption and waste.
I look forward to continuing to be a friend and advisor to the president.
But then came reality. Adverse legal rulings by activist judges, Hill resistance to real spending cuts, a razor-thin margin, and hurt feelings by cabinet members who felt blindsided when they were doged without notice. So I'm not sure why Elon Musk waited a little bit to express his displeasure about the big, beautiful bill, and I don't know that he ever sat down with the president about the substantive disagreements with it. But of late, Elon Musk has been smashing the bill in posts like this. I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination. Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it. Look, everybody who's watched The Angle knows that I wanted real cuts in military spending and would have cut a lot more to prevent Medicaid fraud. I would have cut more in places that we could have. But beyond that, there actually are not reams and reams of pork that we're used to seeing in these omnibus bills. It's pretty much what Trump campaigned on. And Musk had to know this. You know, no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, increases in military spending, increases for spending at the border. These are all things Trump campaigned on. But as for the doge cuts not being made permanent, yeah, that's also not Trump's fault. But obviously, I get why Musk is mad about that. I would be too. But again, Elon should see that Trump is not the problem here. Like, what Republican could have done more with this tiny majority than Donald Trump, I ask you? Now, I'm convinced that until we have multiple bond auctions that just fail, we're simply not going to have the votes needed to push through large-scale spending cuts. Just not going to happen. There's no Republican will. There's no bipartisan will to do that. And then things are going to be so bad that, yeah, Democrats are going to say, OK, we'll do whatever we have to do. That's when that's finally going to happen. But now, if they kill this bill, as imperfect as it is, and Musk wants that, my question tonight is, then what? Does Elon Musk really think that the result will be more spending cuts? I'll tell you what's going to happen, because unfortunately I've been around Washington for far too long. What's going to happen then is the opposite. Because to avoid a default on our debt, which is going to be avoided, John Thune would have to cut a deal with Schumer. And then what's going to happen? Well, we're all going to have to swallow a bigger, beautiful bill, which will make Democrats really happy and destroy Republicans. So even mega billionaires, even presidents, look, they all get their feelings hurt. They're human beings. But both men, I bet, are going to see that they're better off as friends than enemies. Trump is president. Elon is a genius innovator. They accomplished a lot together in a short period of time. Not everything they wanted. Of course not. They turned over, though, a lot of rocks. They kicked the hornet's nest big time in swampy D.C. They exposed the bureaucracy. Doge didn't find $1 trillion in cuts, but still had a major impact. So I would celebrate that. There's a lot of good there. Acknowledge your frustrations, but when substantive differences get personal, well, things just veer out of control.
He worked hard, and he did a good job. And I'll be honest, I think he misses the place. I'll tell you, he's not the first. People leave my administration, and they love us. and then at some point they miss it so badly, and some of them embrace it, and some of them actually become hostile. I don't know what it is. It's sort of Trump derangement syndrome, I guess they call it. We've done a great job. Elon knew that. Elon endorsed me very strongly. He actually went up in campaign for me. I think I would have won. Susie would say I would have won Pennsylvania easily anyway.
Well, of course, that set off Musk, who responded, quote, "Without me, Trump would have lost the elections. Democrats would control the House. Republicans would be 51-49 in the Senate." Well, we don't really know that, but Elon Musk did an enormous amount of good, especially in places like Pennsylvania. But Trump won an election without him back in 2016, and Trump did have major momentum from the Biden debate on down, even before Musk entered the scene. Although, again, the angle was clear from the beginning. Musk's help and his enormous financial contribution was invaluable. And it seemed to me really selfless. But Musk went on to tweet such ingratitude. Well, again, I think he's wrong there. Trump expressed his gratitude publicly over and over again.
He's done a fantastic job. He didn't need this. He didn't need it. Today it's about a man named Elon, and he's one of the greatest business leaders and innovators the world has ever produced. I just want to thank Elon for his time as a special government employee.
Now, stop to think how happy the media and the Democrats are today. They always wanted to break this alliance. I said this last week, and today they got their wish. Again, just last week, we told you that their relationship was always an unlikely one. Trump's always been a populist. Sometimes he was a Democrat, sometimes he was, but he's always been a populist. He's a real estate guy who does deals. Musk has pretty much always been a libertarian, a tech and engineering guy, innovator. At Tesla, at SpaceX, he's the top dog. He orders people around, and he has a right to. But in Washington, Trump's the top dog, and he calls the shots. Always, the other two branches of government, though, are checking him. And just like Elon does at his companies, Trump does the best that he can. And until recently, Elon understood those challenges.
But the president is the elected representative of the people. So he's representing the will of the people. And if the bureaucracy is fighting the will of the people and preventing the president from implementing what the people want, then what we live in is a bureaucracy and not a democracy.
He was 100% right then, and he still believes that, and he's right about that. So I get it. Again, Elon is frustrated that common sense things aren't getting done in D.C. But again, he hasn't been in D.C. This has been going on in D.C. for, decades and decades and decades. Things aren't just happening now. More isn't being cut? Yeah, of course not. But train your frustration not on the guy who's fought everyone to get where he is, but on the people who are blocking Donald Trump. And as for the president, he should simply disengage. Musk is his own person. The government contracts that he has stand on their own merit. They shouldn't be called into question. Threatening to pull them, that's not wise. When 5 minutes ago you were, of course, hailing Musk's work and helping rescue the stranded Americans in space. Elon Musk is like the Thomas Edison of our time. He sacrificed for America personally and professionally. And he wanted to make the Trump presidency happen, and it did. And I will say, back to the ingratitude complaint, but Trump showed his gratitude by giving Elon Musk a seat at almost every table, including in the Situation Room, in the Oval Office, at times at all the cabinet agencies. And I think Elon Musk, and I've been around since the Reagan years, he had more influence and more access to Trump personally than any other non-cabinet member in political history, at least modern political history. I can't think of one. Again, that itself was a sign of great respect and great gratitude to Elon Musk. Trump didn't have to do any of that. So Elon Musk was right to bet on Trump in the fall, and wrong to give both of their enemies a gift by turning on him publicly now. It's a healthy thing that there's a robust debate inside the party about substantive matters. I always say this. Look at the Democrats. They're in lockstep in failure. And now All the Democrats are suffering. But at the same time, let's not forget that Donald Trump won the GOP nomination 3 times in a row. He beat the Bushes. He beat the Clintons. He beat the Obamas. He beat Biden. He beat Harris. He beat the media. So voters prefer him on key issues. No more forever wars, no more unfair trade, no more giving sweetheart deals to China, no more open border. And by the way, no more $4 gasoline. So if Elon now joins hands with the Never-Trumpers after all that, look, there's nothing anyone can do about it. It makes me sad. You know, it makes a lot of people sad. But I bet he's smart enough to soon discover what a sour and unappealing lot the Never-Trumpers are. And that's the angle.
The bromance is over.
Elon and I had a great relationship. I don't know if we're well anymore. People leave my administration and they love us. And then at some point they miss it so badly. And some of them embrace it and some of them actually become hostile. I don't know what it is. It's sort of Trump derangement syndrome, I guess they call it. But we have it with others, too. They leave, and they wake up in the morning, and the glamour's gone. The whole world is different, and they become hostile. I don't know what it is.
Elon came down with Trump derangement syndrome? The world's richest man has been railing against the big, beautiful bill. Last week, Elon said it can't be big and beautiful. And yesterday, he called it a disgusting abomination, right after Trump had just thrown him a farewell party.
Remember, he was here for a long time. You saw a man who was very happy when he stood behind the Oval desk. And even with the black eye, I said, do you want a little makeup? We'll get you a little makeup. But he said, no, I don't think so, which is interesting and very nice. He wants to be who he is. You were here. Everybody in this room practically was here as we had a wonderful send-off. He said wonderful things about me. You couldn't have nicer. Said the best things. He's worn the hat. Trump was right about everything. And I am right about the great, big, beautiful bill.
Trump just gave Elon a key to the White House at that party. Guess he has to change the locks now. Elon says the bill's debt slavery and wants Republicans to kill the bill. Trump says Elon should have said something earlier.
I'm very disappointed because Elon knew the inner workings of this bill better than almost anybody sitting here, better than you people. He knew everything about it. He had no problem with it. All of a sudden he had a problem, and he only developed the problem when he found out that we're going to have to cut the EV mandate, because that's billions and billions of dollars, and it really is unfair. But he knew every aspect of this bill. He knew it better than almost anybody, and he never had a problem until right after he left.
This afternoon, Elon called Trump ungrateful. Without me, Trump would have lost the election. Dems would control the House, and the Republicans would be 51-49 in the Senate. Such ingratitude. Trump says he still would have won.
Elon endorsed me very strongly. He actually went up in campaign for me. I think I would have won. Susie would say I would have won Pennsylvania easily anyway, even if the governor ran, the real governor, not the governor from Minnesota, he's a sick puppy, that guy. That poor guy, I feel sorry for him. But they made a bad choice with him. But if you pick Shapiro or anybody else, I would have won Pennsylvania. I won it by a lot.
Trump knocked Biden out, got shot, jumped back up, put on a McDonald's apron, and swept the swing states. He never trailed. Obviously, Elon's money made a big impact. But if money won elections, then Kamala would be commander-in-chief because she spent twice as much. You can't buy an election. If you could, Musk would have won that Supreme Court seat in Wisconsin. But Musk says Trump's just not the same guy. He's asking, was he replaced by a body double? Musk also says, oh, and some food for thought as they ponder this question. Trump has 3.5 years left as president, but I'll be around for 40+ years. Elon's basically threatening the primary Republicans who vote for this big, beautiful bill and insinuates he'll be around for decades playing kingmaker. But Trump says he's the president, and Elon overstayed his welcome. Elon was wearing thin. I asked him to leave. I took away his EV mandate that forced everyone to buy electric cars that nobody else wanted, that he knew for months I was going to do. And he just went crazy. Remember, the president said he couldn't get rid of them.
You know, he likes this place. I can't get him out of here. He just likes this place. And you know what? I like having him here, too. He's good.
Trump let Elon move into Mar-a-Lago, hired him at the White House, flew him around Air Force One, and took him to UFC fights. And then there was this. At 3 o'clock this afternoon, Elon says, time to drop the really big bomb. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. This is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJT. Mark this post for the future. The truth will come out, he says. Elon's calling the president a pedophile. Wow. I don't think Musk's seen the Epstein files, and if Trump was in them, Biden probably would have released him. And everybody knows Trump kicked Epstein out of his clubs and cooperated with the victims' attorneys. But the silver lining is that now Democrats are demanding the release of the Epstein files. Fang Fang's Flame says, release the Epstein files now. Now, if you think it's stopped, nope, it's still going. The easiest way to save money in our budget, billions and billions of dollars, is to terminate Elon's governmental subsidies and contracts. I was always surprised that Biden didn't do it. Remember, the media said Trump was elected because of Musk, and Trump was paying him back by letting him get rich off government. Well, that was a lie, because Trump just killed the EV subsidies. The Wall Street Journal is saying Elon's mad that he lost his subsidies, but who knows? He claims it's spending that has to stop. We don't know. They also said Musk was co-president. They were wrong again. Tesla stock tanking because of this feud. Elon responded immediately saying, in light of the president's statement about cancellation of my government contracts, SpaceX will begin decommissioning its Dragon spacecraft immediately. Elon's taking his rockets and he's going home. Remember the hot red Tesla Musk gave Trump? Miller might torch it. Margot's going to have to Uber. And all those Republicans who bought Teslas to support Elon, do they key their own cars now? This is getting messy. But don't worry, Trump got big balls in the divorce. The 21-year-old doger is staying on. And now Elon thinks Trump should be impeached. He wants to doge Trump. And he says the Trump tariffs will cause a recession. This is not how I thought today would go. None of this is about Elon, Trump says. Quote, I don't mind Elon turning against me, but he should have done so months ago. This is one of the greatest bills ever presented to Congress. I didn't create this mess. I'm just here to fix it. This big, beautiful bill is the centerpiece of the Trump agenda. Tax relief, no tax on tips, pay raises for soldiers and military spending on ships and jets, border wall funding, very important, and ICE funding for mass deportations, and money for drill, baby, drill. Trump ran on this and won on this. He didn't run on balancing the budget. He wants to, but this isn't a spending bill. He has 4 years to reduce the deficit. Yeah, there's probably a lot of pork in it, but hopefully the Senate strips it out and the House can do its duty and spend less and lock in the doge cuts. But that's going to be tough knowing Congress. Republican Senate sources tell Primetime that Musk isn't going to be able to derail the bill. But I sympathize with him. You can break things and build them back in the private sector, but Washington's tough. Plus, his cars were on fire, and the media was investigating his girlfriends and accusing him of taking drugs. That's not fun. It's not fair. And it's not easy to handle. Maybe Musk is publicly distancing himself from Trump to help his brand recover. Maybe he needs liberals to buy his cars. We don't know. We're just spitballing here. Sometimes we say things we don't mean when we're mad. But when that person who's mad is a mega donor, someone needs to hold his hand and work it out. They have to be careful because Democrats are trying to poach.
So what do the Democrats do with someone like Elon Musk, given how powerful he is? Do they try to recruit him back into the fold? Because, again, that money, with our campaign finance laws, which I think are broken and should be amended, that money really matters.
The Democrats have to be a big tent party. That means taking in disaffected Republicans. And the way we do that is by bringing in people like Elon Musk and anyone else who would be open to the idea of competent government.
So you'd take him back?
I would take him back, and I would take anyone else of good conscience who wants to do right by the American people.
Democrats are like, yeah, he's a Nazi, but we'll take his money. Sorry about burning your cars. Why don't you just write us a check and we'll call it even? Musk won't forgive what they did to him. But a little beef about the big, beautiful bill. Guys can get over that stuff. We call each other pedophiles, but we don't always mean it. These are two big dogs living in close quarters, kind of like roommates. After a while, you get sick of each other. But usually men don't have a change of heart that fast. Just a few months ago, Musk said he loves Trump so much as a straight man can love another.
Elon Musk said today, I love Donald Trump as much as a straight man can love another man. What does the First Lady think about that?
Oh, I think she'll be okay with it somehow.
Trump's actually pretty forgiving. Vance called him a Nazi, and now he's VP. Megyn Kelly and Trump hated each other, and now she's at his rallies. Musk was an Obama donor, then he backed DeSantis. Then he went all in on Trump, and now he wants him impeached. So he's been all over the place. Will they patch it up? Only those two know. If you said I was on the Epstein list, it might take me a little while. But guys get over stuff. And if it's good for the country, both men are patriots. And hopefully they'll do the right thing. And if they don't, that's okay too.
But we begin tonight with a flurry of activity today at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. And yes, let not your heart be troubled. I will address the battle between President Trump and Elon Musk. I know it's of such great international importance. But first, there is fresh scrutiny surrounding Joe Biden and a hard-working auto pen. Take a look.
Somebody said auto pen. Did I hear the word auto pen?
I'm just curious.
Because I think it's the biggest scandal maybe in the last 100 years in this country. So when I hear that word, I think it has to be discussed because the fake news will try and, hide it, and we can't do that. We can't ever allow that to happen to our country. The danger our country was in, and I know some of the people that worked with him, radical left, horrible people. And I could give you the name of some of the people that use the auto pen, because I'm here, and I ask questions about people that were here also. There are a lot of people that were here when that happened, and they're here right now, and they'll answer your question very accurately. But I know some of the people that use that auto pen, and those are not the people that had the same ideology as Joe Biden. These were radical left lunatics that used that, and they didn't get elected.
Oh, we've been saying it, and Trump is right. This is the biggest scandal in White House and presidential history. Everyone knew that Biden was a cognitive mess. Everyone covered it up. And then the questions are, who knew what? When did they know it? And who was really making the decisions? We need answers. That is a constitutional crisis of a magnitude we've never seen before. But this is already humiliating for Democrats and Joe Biden. And today, the former president, or somebody working for him, was forced to release a written statement promising that Joe was actually in charge during his time in the White House. Quote, I made the decisions about the pardons, the executive orders, legislation, proclamations. Any suggestion that I didn't is ridiculous. It is false. I don't even have confidence that he wrote that, and nobody should. Now, of course, to most Americans with eyes to see and ears to hear, it doesn't seem so ridiculous. You see, Joe couldn't make his way down from a podium without plenty of direction. So it's kind of hard to believe that he was calling the shots on dozens and thousands in the end, pardons, other complex executive actions. Was he even aware that an auto pen was being used to sign so many official actions? We need answers. Now, the House Oversight Committee Chairman, James Comer, is now officially subpoenaed Biden's White House doctor. This investigation is off and running. Now, meanwhile, back at the White House, another high-stakes international call today. Now, yesterday it was Putin. Well, today it was President Xi of China. Take a look.
We had a very good talk, and we've straightened out any complexity. It's very complex stuff, and we straightened it out. The agreement was we're going to have Scott and Howard and Jameson will be going and meeting with their top people and continue it forward. But no, I think we have everything. I think we're in very good shape with China and the trade deal. We have a deal with China, as you know, but we were straightening out some of the points having to do mostly with rare earth, magnets, and some other things.
Now, just to compare and contrast, Donald Trump is holding China accountable while engaging in tough but thoughtful negotiations. I predicted from the beginning we will come to a resolution because China does need access to our markets, and we need things for them, like rare earths, for example, at least temporarily. Under Biden, China, they were given a free pass to do whatever they wanted and put massive tariffs on our products and prevent American manufacturing from even having a shot at their markets. Now, in fact, Biden's DOJ even shut down Donald Trump's China initiative. Now, that was the China-focused espionage program at a time when China's spying was getting worse and worse and worse. And Joe even let Chinese nationals, remember, big scandal, it's still a scandal, buy up thousands and thousands of acres of farmland, ranch land, land near our military installations. Do you think President Xi would allow any American national in China to do that in China? Can I go into China and buy farmland or ranch land or land near their military installation? I don't think so. Just this week, a really dumb decision. Arizona's Democratic liberal leftist governor, Katie Hobbs, inexplicably vetoed a bill banning the Chinese nationals from buying up land near our U.S. military bases. This is reckless. This is dangerous. The Democratic Party's track record on China is horrific. And don't even get me started on the spy balloon. I'll lose my mind. Now, of course, the legacy media mob, they would rather you focus and obsess about the current conflict between Elon Musk and President Donald Trump. Now, the rift between these two men, I'll be the first to say it's sad, it's unfortunate. These are two titans of American industry and culture, two very strong-willed heavyweights. You have the president of the free world, the richest guy on earth, one of the smartest guys on earth. Conflicts, they're kind of predictable, aren't they? You know, you don't have to be a genius to figure out that is likely to happen. It's not unexpected, to be honest. They disagree on policy. They even said in their last meeting in the White House, yeah, we agree about 80% of the time. They have disagreements. And they both fight back hard. No shock there either. They wouldn't be where they are if they didn't. But when I interviewed them together, the first thing I said to them and talked about and asked them, you know, you do know that the media mob, the legacy media mob, desperately wants to tear you guys apart and for you two to fight and to get a divorce. And now the media mob is predictably elated. And it got personal. Elon Musk claiming, quote, Trump is in the Epstein files. That's the real reason they have not been made public. Well, it's been well known that Donald Trump said that Elon was angry over Trump's decision to end the electric vehicle mandate. I can certainly understand why Elon, wants that in the one big beautiful bill. Pretty obvious, pretty apparent, understandable difference. And on the Epstein issue, wasn't it Donald Trump? He booted Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago nearly 20 years ago because he was one of the first people to realize just how horrible Epstein really was. And by all accounts, he was kicked out because of his treatment of young women. Now, Democrats and the media, I'm just thinking out loud here. I'm just wondering, putting two and two together. I truly wonder if our old friend Bill Clinton, how you doing? Good to talk to you. We know he had a relationship with Epstein. That's been reported on. Is he in the? Is Bill Clinton? Is he in those files also? I can't say for sure. I haven't seen them. But if I was a betting man, I know where I'd put my money. Now, if by some chance that Bill Clinton is in there, I wonder if he kicked Epstein out of his life as publicly as Donald Trump did. I guess if Donald Trump felt that Epstein had something on him, he probably wouldn't have kicked him out of his club. Inquiring minds, I think they'll want to know that. So let's be very blunt here. Big deal. It's an online public spat between two very powerful men over what is really a policy difference. It got personal, and still, despite all the bad blood, I'm going to make a bold prediction. I could be wrong. I think that Donald Trump and Elon Musk, they'll work it out eventually. They'll become friends again. Now, after all, it was only a week ago that the pair were praising each other in the Oval Office. Remember, Trump gifted Musk a gold key to the White House. I don't know if he's changing the locks or not. Take a look.
Elon gave an incredible service. Nobody like him. And he had to go through the slings and the arrows, which is a shame because He's an incredible patriot. The good news is that 90% of the country knows that, and they appreciate it, and they really appreciate what he did. And I gave him a little special something we have here.
Thank you.
A very special, that I give to very special people. I have given it to some, but it goes to very special people, and I thought I'd give it to Elon as a presentation from our country.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elon.
Thank you.
Take care of yourself.
Thank you. I think the Doge team is doing an incredible job. They're going to continue doing an incredible job, and I'll continue to be visiting here and be a friend and advisor to the president. And I look forward to times being back in this amazing room.
All right, that was less than a week ago. These are two very talented individuals. Frankly, they don't need each other to be successful, but I do hope they work it out and set an example for the rest of the country.
Thank you. That almost makes up for being short. Almost.
Almost.
Happy Thursday, everyone. So last night in New York, the New York Democratic mayoral debate, ex-Governor Andrew Cuomo said he's going to take every homeless person off the subway and get them the help they need. And he claims he's going to start with his brother Chris. Former Biden press secretary Karine Jean-Pierre announced that she's writing a tell-all book about the Biden administration. In response, people are saying, thanks, but I just wanted a Big Mac. And when Joe Biden was asked if he's going to read the book, he replied, over my soon-to-be dead body. Meanwhile, Biden released a written statement disputing Trump's claims that he was in control of the auto pen system. Here's his written statement. During a town hall in Vermont last week, Democrat Congresswoman Becca Balint says if we deport illegals, America won't have anyone around to wipe our asses. Damn, that's 30 jobs right there, said one man. Yeah, I don't want to be part of that ICE raid. According to a new poll from Real Clear Politics, President Trump has a higher approval rate than Obama did at this time. Yeah. However, Obama's got a slight lead in his home country of Kenya. Texas Democrat Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett said President Trump likes to dog whistle. No wonder she perks up around him. She also said Republicans walk up to her all the time and tell her how much they like her, which is true until they realize she's not Ben Carson.
Really?
And finally, more bad news for ratings-challenged CNN. The network has crashed to only 374,000 viewers. That number is so small, even Bonnie Blue won't bang it. That's a great joke. Don't Google her. All right, so Karine Jean-Pierre wrote a book, and her fans are already sharpening their crayons. And it's just what we need, a tell-all from the woman who spent 2 years telling everyone that Joe just had a cold and not rigor mortis. If the title hadn't already been taken, it should be called Art of the Steal. KJP also says she's leaving the Democratic Party. I say God bless her. Not many people have the patience to wait in a line that long. In her book, she says the White House was broken. This after 2 years along a president who wasn't housebroken. But she only realized this after she stopped getting paid to defend it. But like Jake Tapper's book, it's a new genre of Biden tell-alls that should be subtitled, I had no idea because I'm severely retarded. So now she realizes she was carrying water for a man whose brain was as wet as his pants. Remember, this is the same broad who stared America in the face and said this.
comments were made in that report about that, about obviously about his memory that we don't believe lives in reality. 80's the new 40, didn't you hear? He is as sharp as ever. They are cheap fakes video. They are done in bad faith.
And it's not true, right? The president wasn't wandering.
Is anyone in the White House hiding information about the president's health or his ability to do the job day to day?
Absolutely not.
He's the president of the United States. You know, I can't even keep up with him.
Yeah, you couldn't keep up with Joe. Sorry, Joe couldn't keep up with FDR in the 100-yard dash. And I'm talking right now.
Damn.
But she expected us to believe she couldn't keep up with the guy who had to have an electric fence put up around the White House so he wouldn't in the neighbor's yard. So was Corinne too dumb to notice Biden was a mess, or was she just dishonest? Pick your poison, moron or mercenary. Now there's a great name for her book. I'm going with mercenary, because this whole book tour didn't spring from a burst of guilt. According to Politico, she was copying her publicist on emails while still press secretary. So she was planning this from the podium. She's like a pilot who puts on his parachute and oxygen mask while your plane's leaving the airport. So this wasn't a crisis of faith, it was a business plan. She didn't leave the Democrat Party. She managed her exit like Pelosi dumping stocks before she signs the corporate tax hike. She was even pining for a spot on The View, which is like angling for the best seat in a garbage truck. But she didn't get the gig, probably because she refused their lunch bucket of thawed mackerel. That's what you feed the talent at SeaWorld. And now even the most reliable lefties are roasting her, but it serves them right. After all, she was their pick, a historic first. Black, lesbian, and board certified by visiting angels. But you know it's bad when DC operatives call it a grift. Hell, that's like Taylor Swift calling you a 6. But they say that she was ineffectual, unprepared, needed to be coddled, and couldn't manage a team. What's that sound like? DEI. What happens when you hire someone based on identity and not merit? She says we need to stop thinking in boxes, but as a black, lesbian, French, Haitian female, she checks more boxes than a gynecologist.
On the order form.
On the order form.
Oh my God.
All those applications you gotta fill out.
The thing, or
What, you think I meant vaginas?
Ew.
Disgusting people. But now she says, now everyone says she's incompetent and lazy. You know, after they called me racist for saying that. That's not why I'm racist.
Nope.
But really, they're just jealous. These colleagues also played along with the hoax, saying that Joe was doing 75 one-arm push-ups while finishing the New York Times crossword puzzle all before breakfast. They're just pissed she beat them to the publisher's office and to the bank. I expect to see more of these books because of the lifeboats these rats will use to try and escape the shipwreck of the past 4 years. So KJP is now an independent, because apparently pretending to be apolitical sells better than admitting your last job was gaslighting America. That's how bad the stink is when one of its worst offenders is fleeing this rancid armpit called the Democrat Party. So should we buy her book? Well, only if your family and friends have a sense of humor. It'll make a great gag gift. You know, like fake dog or rubber vomit. Only the stench here, it's real. Let's welcome tonight's guest! Terrorists prefer waterboarding to his stories. Former CIA operative and host of the President's Daily Brief podcast, Mike Baker. She's only here tonight because her spin class was canceled. The Federalist correspondent, Brianna Lyman. She went from the Goo Goo Dolls to avoiding Brit Hume's calls. Host of the Kennedy Saves the World podcast, Kennedy. And he likes to whisper sweet nothings into his fans' hearing aids. New York Times bestselling author, comedian, and former NWA world champion, Tyrus. So, So, Mr. Baker, it's now okay. It's totally okay to say that she's dumb and incompetent. But if you had said it, which I know you have, oh, you would have been the white devil.
Yeah, I've said it repeatedly.
Yes, you have.
And I really am the white devil. Look, I'm glad that you cleared up that whole box cho-cha issue.
Thank you.
There were a lot of viewers that were confused over that.
Yeah, stick to the topic.
Yeah. Look, you asked, is she dishonest or is she stupid? You can be stupid and dishonest, right?
Yeah.
So I think she's covered both of those boxes, right?
Yeah. She's a lying dumbass.
See what I did there? See what I brought in another box joke.
Yeah,
that was good. Yeah, because she's a lesbian.
Okay.
So, see, I tied it all together here.
Yes,
in one thing. No, look, this is a grift. I'm enjoying more than anything. I'm enjoying the response from the members of the Democrat Party because it's exactly what you would expect. And I do think you're absolutely right. It's because she's beaten to the punch with another book. Mm-hmm. And the book comes out. I think the only people that are going to pick it up are the people inside the Beltway who are going to be going to the index to see whether they're included in it.
Yeah.
It's just kind of the standard D.C. game. And that's all I have to say about that.
Thank God. You know, Brianna, do you think we'll find anything new in this book? I mean, can we pretty much write it in our heads?
Look, if it's anything like Alex Thompson and Jake Tapper's book, even if there are some like bombshell allegations, it'll all be anonymous. They write a book called The Original Sin. The only sin there is that they granted anonymity to people that should be being held accountable. And we talk about right now all these people coming forward saying KJP was incompetent and stupid, whatever, everything we all saw with our own two eyes. Where were you for 2 years when that information would have been really useful to kick her out of office or to remove her from her podium?
Wouldn't it be hilarious if she was the source for the Jake Tapper book?
Oh, she was mentioned twice, so you never know.
Yeah, sometimes what they'll do in books is they will mention somebody in the index, and that's where you'll say, oh, that's where they're quoted. So you don't realize they're being quoted anonymously in other places. I did that when I interviewed Nelson Mandela.
Yeah.
Weren't you the sign language interpreter at his funeral?
Yes, I was, Kennedy. So glad that you remember that, young woman. Do you think there'll be any revelations in this book? No?
No, I don't, because she has to examine her own life, and I think she's a pretty empty, vapid person, just based on her performance at the podium, which was completely underwhelming the entire time. Mm-hmm. So it's like people make a lot of money when they have compelling stories. Like, people wanted to read Hillary Clinton's first book when she came out of the White House because they wanted to know, you know, what was it like when your husband cheated on you with an intern? Mm-hmm. What was it like when you murder people and fake their suicide?
Yes.
You know, things like that. No one looks at Karine Jean-Pierre and goes, God, I wonder what her life is really like, because she just walked around like, hello, everyone, where's my binders? Yes, I already answered that question. The president already talked about that. He spoke to that, Peter Ducey. Don't ask me anything. I'm going to slam this binder and I'm going to leave. And you're going to be sad. And it's like, who's going to give her money for that?
Yeah.
You know, but you're absolutely right, because if she goes, oh my God, this was so awful, he was so incompetent, then she was a liar the entire time she was up there. And if she goes, he was seriously amazing and you guys are all awful people, then it's like, well, then you didn't see what was going on, and there's not going to be any sources because she is the only source, but it is an empty well.
This is amazing. You know, this is the key thing for this book. What is she going to say? Is she going to say he was totally effed up or not? Because she can't win either way.
But she has to get that book deal. She's got to say something. Mm-hmm. She's got to. That's how you get a deal. You have to put something on the table, say this is what's going to sell this book.
Yeah.
Great. That's what I was about to say.
Well, talk about financial tips.
Oh, wait, because he looks like Charles Payne?
Yes.
Charles Payne, if they locked me in the basement for 6 years, yeah, my light and my melanin is a little off. Give me an hour. What she says is irrelevant.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter whether she says Biden was what we already knew or she tried to defend him. She will be forever the face of why you don't hire DEI. Mm-hmm. And the reason for that is this.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. And here's why. If she had worked her ass off to get to that position, interviewed strong, had a resume that showed that she has dominating stuff. And when she got up there, and listen, everyone always wants to talk about being the first of everything, right? You're the first this, you're the first that. There is a responsibility with being the first of your people, which means you have to not just represent yourself, you have to represent the people you're claiming to be the first of, which means your integrity, your resolve needs to reflect everyone. So you could have been, this book could have been a lot different had she been the first lesbian black woman to come out and say, I can no longer do this job because he's unfit to serve. He can't complete a sentence. I can't see him. I can't answer any questions because he's unavailable to me. Right. She would be an American hero. There would be a statue of her somewhere one day. But because she's a DEI and never worked for nothing in her to get to where she's at, she'll just go along and, you know, whatever the gravy train is, I get to be on TV, I get paid, and then they cut it off because she couldn't get a job. She's the one person who couldn't get a job at MSNBC over there.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
That bar is pretty high.
ABC, all those things. No, it's not. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing for her there. So what does she do? I'm leaving the party, and I'm going to write this book. If you had integrity, you would be a hero. You're just an afterthought. What she said? Who gives a damn about what she said in her book?
Yeah, that's a great point.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.